Woman feeds stray dog, little knowing its millionaire owner was looking for it. Emily Johnson clutched the bag of stale bread she'd gotten from the neighborhood bakery to her chest. The previous day's leftovers were her only sure meal on that gray June morning in New York. That's when she saw the dog. The animal was curled up near the entrance of the office building's parking lot, where she worked as a cleaner. Its brown fur was dirty, its sad eyes pleading for help. Emily felt her heart tighten. She knew that hungry look all too well. "Come here, little buddy," she whispered, crouching down slowly so as not to startle the animal. The dog lifted its head, sniffing the air. Emily broke off a piece of bread and held it out in her palm. The dog approached cautiously, took the food gently, and began chewing slowly as if every crumb were precious. Emily studied the dog more closely as it ate. Despite the dirt, she could tell it was a purebred, a golden retriever. The leather collar was worn, but a small metal tag still dangled from it. She tried to read the engraved name, but the letters were faded with time. "How long have you been lost, huh?" she asked, stroking the dog's head. The dog responded with a timid wag of its tail. Emily shared the rest of the bread with it, even though she knew she'd have nothing to eat until lunch, but she couldn't let the poor thing go hungry. On the other side of the parking lot, Michael Richardson watched the scene through the tinted window of his imported car. He'd arrived early for an important meeting and was reviewing documents on his tablet when he noticed the woman feeding the dog. Something about the scene moved him deeply. The way she shared what little she had, the tenderness in her gestures. Michael felt a pang in his chest as he remembered Max, his own golden retriever who had disappeared 3 months ago. Emily kept petting the dog, unaware she was being watched. The animal seemed to grow more comfortable with her, even lying down beside her. "You need a bath, you know? And some real food," she said, mentally calculating how much of her minimum wage paycheck would be left if she bought dog food. Emily's phone rang. It was Mrs. Doris, the cleaning supervisor. "Emily, are you here yet? I need you to start on the 3rd floor today. The executives have a meeting at 8. "I'm already downstairs, Mrs. Doris. I'm just..." Emily glanced at the dog. "I'm on my way up." She stood up reluctantly. The dog rose too, as if wanting to follow her. "I can't take you up there, buddy. But come back at lunchtime and I'll bring more food, okay?" Emily entered the building, leaving the dog in the parking lot. The animal lay down near the door as if waiting for her. Michael kept watching. There was something familiar about that dog, the way it moved, the way it tilted its head. His heart raced. Could it be? He stepped out of the car and approached the animal slowly. The dog lifted its head, sniffed the air, and began wagging its tail furiously. "Max, is that you, boy?" The dog barked and leaped toward Michael, who barely kept his balance from the impact. It was Max. His companion, who had vanished during a trip to Aspen, was here, thinner and dirtier, but alive. "My God, Max, where have you been all this time?" Michael hugged the dog, tears streaming down his face. Max licked his owner's face, whining with joy. Michael checked the dog for injuries. Aside from being thin and dirty, he seemed okay. The tag on the collar was indeed illegible, which explained why no one had been able to return him. Michael grabbed his phone to call his assistant and cancel the meeting. Max was more important than any business deal. That's when he remembered the woman who had fed his dog. He needed to thank her. He needed to repay her somehow. Michael entered the building with Max at his heels and went to the front desk. "Good morning. There was a woman here earlier. She fed my dog. Do you know who she is?" The security guard eyed the well-dressed man with the dirty dog suspiciously. "Must be Emily from the cleaning crew, but you can't go up with the animal, sir." "I'm Michael Richardson from Richardson Enterprises. My office is on the 12th floor. The guard's demeanor changed instantly. "Oh, Mr. Richardson, my apologies, I didn't recognize you. Emily is on the 3rd floor. Should I call her for you?" "No, I'll go up myself. You can let Max through. He's my dog." Dear listener, if you're enjoying the story, don't forget to like and especially subscribe to the channel. It helps us a lot as we're just starting out. Now back to the story. Emily was mopping the hallway on the 3rd floor when she saw the elevator doors open. Her heart nearly stopped when the well-dressed man stepped out, followed by the dog she had fed just minutes earlier. Excuse me, are you Emily? Michael asked, approaching her. Emily lowered her eyes, thinking she'd done something wrong. Yes, sir. I'm sorry if the dog caused any trouble. I just gave him a little bread because he looked hungry and... Please don't apologize, Michael gently interrupted. You have no idea what a favor you've done me. This is Max, my dog. He's been missing for 3 months. Emily's eyes widened as she looked from the man to the dog. 3 months, oh poor thing, he must have been starving. Thanks to you, he's fine now. I'd like to repay you somehow. Emily shook her head firmly. That's not necessary. Sir, I did it from the heart. I'm just glad he found his owner. Michael insisted, but Emily kept refusing any reward. She had her pride despite her struggles. She didn't want it to seem like she'd helped the dog expecting something in return. At least let me buy you lunch, Michael tried again. Thank you. But I brought my own lunch, Emily lied. She'd given all her bread to Max. Michael could tell she wasn't being honest. There was something in her eyes, the same resignation he'd seen in Max when he was starving. He respected her refusal, but wouldn't give up on helping her. I understand, but take my card. If you ever need anything, please reach out. Emily took the card out of politeness, with no intention of using it. Michael said goodbye and left with Max, leaving her deep in thought. For the rest of the day, Emily couldn't stop thinking about the encounter. The man had looked so happy to be reunited with his dog. She smiled, imagining Max's joy at being back home. During her lunch break, Emily sat alone in the employee cafeteria. Her stomach growled, but she tried to hide it by drinking water. Mrs. Doris approached her. Emily, aren't you going to eat? I'm not very hungry today, Mrs. Doris. The supervisor had known her for years and could tell when she was lying. Emily, I know things are tough. If you need an advance, thank you, but I'm fine. I just ate a big breakfast. Emily forced a smile. Emily's phone rang. Unknown number. Hello? Emily? This is Michael Richardson. Sorry to bother you, but Max won't eat. He keeps staring at the door and whining. I think he's looking for you. Emily's heart ached. Oh, poor baby. Sometimes animals bond quickly. Would you be able to visit him after work? I'll pay for your overtime and transportation. Emily hesitated. She didn't want to get involved with wealthy people, but the image of the whining dog tugged at her heart. You don't have to pay me. I can stop by. Quickly after my shift, Michael gave her the address, a penthouse in the Upper East Side. Emily nearly gave up when she realized the distance and how much transportation would cost, but she had made a promise. At 6 in the evening, Emily arrived at the luxurious building. The doorman eyed her suspiciously, but called to confirm. And with Michael, you can go up, penthouse, top floor. Emily had never been in such a lavish place. The elevator was entirely mirrored. The hallway had soft carpets and ornamental plants. She felt completely out of place. Michael opened the door before she even rang the bell. Max came running and jumped on Emily, almost knocking her over. Max, I missed you, buddy. Emily laughed, accepting the dog's licks. Please come in, Michael invited. Emily hesitated at the door, looking at her worn-out shoes. I'd better stay here. I don't want to dirty your apartment. Please, I insist. Max has been waiting for you all day. Emily stepped in timidly. The penthouse was even more impressive inside. Huge windows overlooking the city, furniture that looked like works of art, a crystal chandelier that sparkled like diamonds. Max tugged at her dress, pulling her toward the kitchen. There was his food bowl untouched. He hasn't eaten anything since he got here, Michael explained, concerned. Emily knelt by the bowl and started talking to Max. What's this, mister? On a hunger strike? Look at this delicious food. She took some kibble in her hand and offered it to Max, who began eating slowly. That's it. You have to eat properly to stay strong. Michael watched in amazement. Within minutes, Max had devoured all the food. You have a gift with animals, he remarked. I've always loved them. When I was a kid in the countryside, I took care of all the sea animals on my grandfather's farm. They talked a bit more about Max and his recovery. Emily gave tips on feeding and care. Michael listened attentively, realizing how much she knew about the subject. Emily, I need to be honest, Max has never been like this with anyone but me, and I've tried hiring the best trainers in New York. Sometimes it's not about Training, Mr. Richardson. It's about connection. Emily's stomach growled loudly. She blushed, mortified. Sorry, it's just... You haven't eaten today, have you? Michael asked gently. Emily looked down, embarrassed. Please, let me make you something. It's the least I can do. Before Emily could protest, Michael was already in the kitchen. He quickly prepared a sandwich and served fresh juice. Please eat. Max calms down when you're around. Emily ate slowly, savoring every bite. How long had it been since she'd had something so delicious? As she ate, Michael thought of a way to help her without hurting her pride. An idea began forming in his mind. Emily, I have a proposal. Max clearly needs someone who understands him. How about working for me as his caregiver? Emily nearly choked on her juice. But I already have a job, Mr. Richardson. I'll pay you triple what you earn now, with benefits and a meal allowance. Emily fell silent. Triple the salary would change her life completely, but something bothered her. Why are you doing this? You could hire professionals much better than me. Because Max chose you, and I've learned to trust his instincts. Emily looked at Max, who was lying at her feet. The dog stared at her with those golden eyes full of affection. Can I think about it? She asked. Of course, take all the time you need. Emily said goodbye and left, her head full of thoughts. On the crowded bus ride home, she weighed the pros and cons. In her small apartment on the outskirts, she found her teenage daughter, Amanda, doing homework by candlelight. The electricity bill was 2 months overdue. Mom, I'm glad you're back. I saved some food from school for you. Emily hugged her daughter, her heart heavy. Amanda was 15 years old and her greatest pride. Studious, she never complained about hardships. Sweetheart, I need to tell you something. Emily shared everything that had happened. Amanda listened carefully, her eyes shining as her mother described the offer. Mom, this is an amazing opportunity. You have to accept it. But honey, what if it's some kind of, I don't know. Mom, you said yourself he seemed like a good person. And the dog liked you. Animals don't lie. Emily spent the night wide awake, thinking. In the morning, she called Michael. Mr. Michael, I accept your proposal. On the other end of the line, Michael smiled. Great. Can you start today? Emily explained she needed to give notice at her current job. Michael understood and said he'd wait. The next 2 weeks were the longest of Emily's life. Mrs. Doris was sad to see her go, but understood. You deserve better, Emily. You've always worked too hard to spend your life cleaning floors. On her last day, her co-workers threw her a small farewell. Emily was moved by everyone's kindness. Monday arrived. Emily showed up at Michael's apartment promptly at 8. Max greeted her excitedly. Good morning, Emily. I've prepared a special spot for you. Michael showed her a comfortable room he'd set up for her to use during the day, with a private bathroom and a small kitchenette. You don't have to be with Max all the time. He has his routines. Feel free to rest when he's sleeping. Emily wasn't used to such consideration. In her previous job, she barely had breaks. The first few days were about adjusting. Emily learned Max's schedule, his preferences, his favorite toys. The dog followed her everywhere, slept at her feet, and only ate when she was nearby. Michael worked a lot, but whenever he was home, he watched the interaction between Emily and Max. There was something special there, a connection beyond explanation. One morning, Emily arrived paler than usual. She tried to hide it, but Max noticed immediately. The dog wouldn't leave her side, whimpering softly. Emily, are you okay? Michael asked, concerned. I'm fine, sir. Just a headache. But it wasn't just a headache. Emily had been feeling unwell for days, but didn't want to miss work so soon. Max started barking and tugging at Emily's dress toward the couch. She tried to resist, but the dog insisted. I think Max wants you to rest, Michael observed. Emily sat down and immediately felt the dizziness worsen. Michael brought her water and insisted she lie down. I'll call my doctor. No need. Please, it's just exhaustion. But Michael was already dialing. Within half an hour, Dr. Williams was examining Emily. When was the last time you had a checkup? The doctor asked. Emily blushed. It had been years since she'd seen a doctor. She couldn't afford it. Let's run some tests. Michael, may I speak with you privately? The two stepped out, leaving Emily with Max. She hugged the dog, frightened. "What's wrong with me, Max?" The dog licked her face as if to comfort her. Michael returned with a serious expression. "Emily, the doctor thinks it might be severe anemia. You need tests urgently." "But I don't have insurance." "That's not a problem. You're my employee. You're entitled to the company's health plan." Emily didn't know Michael had included such generous benefits in her contract. Tears streamed down her face. The tests confirmed severe anemia and multiple vitamin deficiencies. Emily had spent so long skipping meals to feed her daughter that her body was at its limit. Michael arranged the best treatment: vitamins, supplements, medical follow-ups. Emily resisted at first, thinking it was too much. "Emily, you take such good care of Max. You need to take care of yourself too. He needs you healthy." The palm. Argument worked. Emily began treatment. Within a few weeks, she already felt much better. Max seemed to notice her improvement and grew even more attached. One day, Michael came home early and found Emily and Max on the terrace. She was brushing the dog's fur while humming softly. The scene was so peaceful, a feeling Michael hadn't experienced in a long time. "Sorry to interrupt," he said, approaching. "Mr. Michael, I didn't hear you come in." "Please, just call me Michael. Mr. makes me feel old." Emily smiled timidly. Little by little, she was becoming more comfortable around him. "You know, Max has never been this happy," Michael remarked, sitting beside them. "He's the one who makes me happy. He's a special dog." "Tell me more about your life back home. You mentioned taking care of your grandfather's animals." Emily began sharing stories from her childhood: the small farm, the animals, the hardships, but also the simple joys. Michael listened, fascinated. "What brought you to New York?" he asked. Emily's expression darkened. "Life. My grandfather passed away and the farm was in debt. I came here hoping for a better life." "And your daughter?" "Amanda is my whole world. Her father, well, he disappeared when he found out I was pregnant. I raised her alone." Michael admired this woman's strength, raising a daughter alone in New York, working as a cleaner, yet still holding on to dignity and humor. Dear listener, if you're enjoying the story, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. It helps us newcomers so much. Now back to the story. Weeks turned into months. Emily and Max were inseparable. Michael started working from home more just to watch them together. One day, Amanda showed up at Emily's workplace in tears. Michael had stepped out for a meeting. "Mom, I'm sorry to come here, but..." "What's wrong, sweetheart?" Emily hugged her teenage daughter. "School. They said if we don't pay the overdue tuition by tomorrow, I'll lose my spot." Emily felt the ground vanish beneath her. She'd managed to get Amanda a partial scholarship at a private school, but even the remaining fees were a struggle. "How much do we owe?" 3 months, Mom, $2,400. Emily didn't have that kind of money. Even with her new salary, there were old debts to settle. Max nudged Amanda, sniffing her tears. The girl hugged the dog. "He's so sweet. Is this the Max you're always talking about?" "Yes, Max, this is my daughter, Amanda." The dog wagged his tail and licked her face, coaxing a smile through her tears. "We'll figure this out, sweetheart, don't worry." But Emily was desperate. She didn't want to ask for an advance so soon after starting the job. What would Michael think of her? When Michael returned, he immediately sensed something was wrong. Emily was quiet and Max wouldn't leave her side. "Emily, is everything all right?" "No, sir. I mean, Michael, it's fine." But Max started barking and darting between Emily and Michael, as if trying to say something. "Max is telling me you're lying," Michael said with a half smile. Emily broke down and started crying. Between sobs, she explained Amanda's situation. Michael listened silently, then picked up the phone. "What's the name of the school?" "Michael, please, you don't have to..." "Emily, you saved Max. Let me help your daughter." Within 10 minutes, Michael had not only paid the overdue fees but covered the entire year in advance. Emily cried so hard she could barely speak. Max climbed into her lap, trying to comfort her. "I'll pay back every penny," she managed to say. "I don't want repayment. Consider it a bonus for the incredible job you've done with Max." That night, Emily told Amanda everything. The teen was overwhelmed. "Mom, that man is an angel. He's a good boss, sweetheart, very generous." "Mom, Amanda hesitated. You like him, don't you? Emily turned red. Amanda, what kind of question is that? He's my boss. But I've seen how you talk about him. Your eyes light up. Emily changed the subject, but her daughter's question kept echoing in her mind. Was she developing feelings for Michael? The next day, Emily took Max for a walk in the park. It was part of their daily routine. The dog loved running between the trees and playing with other dogs. An elegant woman approached. Max, is that really you? The dog looked at her but showed little interest, staying close to Emily. Excuse me, do you know Max? Emily asked. I know him very well. I'm Jessica, Michael's ex-fiancée. Emily felt a chill in her stomach. Ex-fiancée? Oh, nice to meet you. I'm Emily. I take care of Max. Jessica looked her up and down with a disdainful glance. New employee? Michael always had this habit of picking up people in need. Emily swallowed the insult. It wasn't worth arguing. So that's why Max disappeared? Jessica continued. Michael must have been devastated. He loves that dog more than he ever loved me. Max got lost during a trip, Emily explained, trying to end the conversation. Typical of Michael, careless. Listen, sweetheart, a piece of advice, don't fool yourself. Michael seems nice, but he's a workaholic, incapable of truly loving anyone. Emily gently tugged Max's leash and walked away, but Jessica's words kept hammering in her head. When they returned to the apartment, Michael was in the living room with a somber expression. Emily, did you run into Jessica at the park? Yes, she recognized Max. Did she say anything unpleasant? Emily hesitated. Nothing important. Michael sighed. Jessica is a bitter person. Our relationship ended because she couldn't accept that I dedicated time to my family and my social projects. She wanted all my attention. You don't owe me an explanation, Emily said softly, but I want to explain. I don't want you to think poorly of me because of her words. Max positioned himself between them, looking from one to the other. I don't think poorly of you, Michael. You've been very kind to me and my daughter. Michael smiled, relieved. How about we have dinner together tonight? I can order from your favorite restaurant. Emily agreed. During dinner, they talked about many things. Michael shared stories about his childhood, the loss of his parents, and how he built his empire from scratch. Max was a gift from my mother before she passed, he revealed. That's why he means so much to me. Emily then understood the depth of their bond. He wasn't just a pet, he was a connection to a loved one who was gone. Days passed. Emily, Michael, and Max formed an unconventional little family. Amanda sometimes visited after school and played with the dog. One day, Emily arrived to find Michael on the terrace, staring at the horizon with a melancholic expression. Is everything okay? She asked. Today marks 5 years since my mother died. Emily sat beside him. Max immediately settled between them. Do you want to talk about her? Michael began sharing stories about his mother, a strong woman who raised him and his sister alone after their father abandoned them. She would have liked you, Michael said suddenly. Emily blushed. Why? Because you're genuine, real. She valued that in people. They sat in silence watching the sunset. Max slept peacefully between them. Emily, can I ask you something personal? Of course. Have you ever thought about remarrying? Having a partner? Emily thought before answering. After Amanda's father left me, I focused on surviving and raising my daughter. There was no room for anything else. And now? Emily looked into his eyes. There was something there, an unspoken question. Now? I don't know, maybe. The moment was interrupted by Michael's phone, urgent business. He apologized and went to take the call. Emily stayed on the terrace with Max, her heart racing. What was happening between her and Michael? The next day brought an unpleasant surprise. Emily arrived to find the apartment in chaos. Jessica was there arguing with Michael. You owe me this, Michael. 3 years of my life. Jessica, we've talked about this. I don't owe you anything. Emily tried to slip away quietly, but Max barked, drawing attention to her. Oh, the little maid is here. Jessica said venomously. I bet this is why you won't help me. spending money on charity. "Jessica, respect Emily or leave my home," Michael said firmly. "Emily, is it? Already that close?" Max growled at Jessica, positioning himself protectively in front of Emily. "Even the dogs picked a side," Jessica laughed bitterly. "You deserve each other. A man who doesn't know how to love and an opportunist." "Get out!" Michael shouted, which was rare for him. Jessica stormed out, slamming the door. Michael apologized profusely to Emily. "I'm so sorry about that. Jessica's having financial trouble and thinks I'm obligated to help her." "Oh, you don't need to apologize. Everyone has ghosts from the past." Michael stepped closer to her. "Emily, I want you to know I don't think of you as just an employee. You're special. To me and to Max." Emily's heart raced. Before she could respond, Max jumped between them, barking happily, breaking the tension. That night, Emily couldn't sleep. The feelings she'd been trying to deny were growing stronger. But she was afraid. What if Jessica was right? What if Michael's feelings were just gratitude? The next day, Emily decided to keep an emotional distance. She stayed professional, cared for Max, but avoided personal conversations with Michael. Max noticed the change immediately. He grew restless, whining, trying to bring Emily and Michael together. "What's wrong with Max today?" Michael asked, concerned. "I don't know, maybe the weather's changing." But Michael wasn't foolish. He noticed Emily's distance. "Emily, if this is about yesterday, about Jessica..." "It's nothing, Michael. I'm just keeping things professional." The word professional stung Michael more than he expected. The following days were tense. Emily continued to care for Max perfectly, but the joy was gone. The dog was visibly sad about the change in their dynamic. Amanda noticed the difference in her mother. "Mom, what happened? You were so happy." "Nothing, dear. I just remembered my place." "Your place?" "Mom, from what you said, Mr. Michael treats you like family." "But we're not family, Amanda. I'm his employee." Amanda hugged her mother. "Mom, you deserve to be happy. Don't let fear ruin something good." Her daughter's words echoed in Emily's mind. A week later, Max fell ill. He stopped eating entirely, lay around all day, whimpering softly. The vet found nothing physically wrong. "It seems like depression," he said. "Any changes in routine?" "Loss of someone." "Close?" Michael looked at Emily, who avoided his gaze. "Could be emotional stress," the vet continued. "Dogs are very sensitive to their owner's emotions." That night, Michael called Emily. "Emily, we need to talk. It's about Max." "Has he gotten worse?" Emily asked, worried. "He's dying of sadness, and I think I know why." Emily went to the apartment. Max was lying in his bed, too weak to get up. "Max, my love." Emily knelt beside him. The dog opened his eyes and tried to wag his tail weakly. "Emily, we can't go on like this," Michael said. "Max feels our tension. He loves us both, and he's suffering." Emily stroked Max, tears streaming down her face. "I know. I'm sorry. I just got scared." "Scared of what?" "Of fooling myself, of thinking there could be something between us." Michael knelt beside her. "And who said it would be an illusion?" Emily looked at him, surprised. "Michael, we're from different worlds." "Are we? I see two people who care about each other, who share love for this stubborn dog." Max lifted, his head as if in agreement. "Emily, these months with you have changed my life. It's not gratitude, it's not charity, it's something much deeper." "Jessica said you're incapable of love," Emily whispered. "Jessica was wrong. I just wasn't capable of loving her. But you taught me what real love is. No demands, no expectations, just genuine care." Max struggled to his feet and positioned himself between them, nudging them closer with his nose. "I think Max is trying to tell us something," Michael smiled. "He's always been smarter than us." Emily laughed through tears. Michael took her hand. "Emily, I'm not asking for anything but a chance. We can take it slow, get to know each other better. But please, don't pull away." Emily looked at Max, who stared back with hopeful eyes. "And if it doesn't work out, I'll lose my job and you'll never lose my respect and support, no matter what happens between us. That's a promise." Emily squeezed his hand. "All right, let's try." Max barked excitedly and jumped, knocking them both to the ground. Suddenly, all his energy had returned. Fake dog, Emily laughed. You were just being dramatic. The three of them, tangled on the floor, laughing, formed a scene that perfectly defined what they were, a family chosen by love, not blood. Dear listener, if you're enjoying the story, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. It helps us creators just starting out. Now, back to the story. The following weeks were full of discoveries. Michael and Emily got to know each other better, with Max always playing the role of their furry matchmaker. They went on walks together, shared dinners, and exchanged stories. Emily discovered a different side of Michael. Not just the serious businessman, but a man who loved old movies, knew how to cook Italian dishes, and was afraid of heights. Michael, in turn, saw beyond Emily's strength. She secretly wrote poetry, knew every constellation in the sky, and dreamed of one day owning a small farm. Amanda naturally became part of this new dynamic. Michael helped her with math, attended her school performances, and cheered her on. "Mom, can I ask you something?" Amanda said one day. "Of course, sweetheart. If you guys get married, will Max be like my dog brother?" Emily nearly choked on her coffee. "Amanda, who said anything about marriage?" "Mom, it's obvious you're going to get married. Even Max knows it." As if agreeing, Max barked happily. But not everything was perfect. Michael's corporate world began questioning his relationship with Emily. At a business dinner, a partner remarked snidely, "Michael, I heard you're dating your dog's nanny. How modern." Michael replied calmly, "I'm dating an incredible woman who happened to save my best friend. Any problem with that?" His tone left no room for further comments. Emily faced challenges too. Former co-workers accused her of being a gold digger. "Caught yourself a rich boss, huh, Emily? Clever girl." But Emily held her head high. She knew the truth of her feelings for Michael. One day, Michael came home with a serious expression. "Emily, I have to go on a business trip to New York, 2 weeks." Emily's chest tightened. It would be their first separation since they started dating. "Max will miss you," she said, trying to hide her own feelings. "Just Max?" Michael asked with a half smile. "Maybe his caretaker will miss you a little too," Emily admitted. Michael hugged her. "I wish I could take you both, but I know Amanda has school. Go in peace. We'll take care of each other." The goodbye at the airport was hard. Max whined, sensing that Michael would be away for a while. "Take care of her for me," Michael whispered to the dog. The first few days felt strange. The apartment seemed empty without Michael. Emily kept up her routine with Max, but both of them felt the absence. Michael called every day, but the time difference made it difficult. When he was free, Emily was at work, and vice versa. On the 5th day, Emily received an unexpected visitor. Michael's sister, Catherine, showed up at the apartment. "You must be Emily. Michael talks about you all the time." Emily felt nervous. Michael had mentioned his sister, but they'd never met. "Nice to meet you, Catherine. Please, come in." Catherine was as elegant as her brother, but had a more approachable air. "I came to meet the woman who won over my brother and his runaway dog." Max ran to greet Catherine, who welcomed him warmly. "Max, look how much you've grown and so well taken care of." The two talked for hours. Catherine shared embarrassing childhood stories about Michael, while Emily recounted how they'd met. "You know, Emily, I've never seen my brother so happy. After our parents passed, he shut himself off. He focused on work, built this empire, but inside he was empty." "He's a special man," Emily said sincerely, "and you're special to him. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise." Catherine became an important ally. They had lunch together, went shopping, and formed a genuine friendship. One day, Emily got a desperate call from Michael. "Emily, there's a problem. The business here got complicated. I'll need to stay another week." Emily tried to hide her disappointment. "I understand. Business is important." "You're more important," Michael said. "But if I don't fix this now, a lot of people could be affected. Employees might lose their jobs." "Then fix it. We'll be here when you get back." But things got worse. 1 week turned into 2, then 3. Emily began to feel doubts creeping back in. Would it always be like this? Michael choosing work over her. Max was affected too. He started eating less, lying by the door, waiting for Michael. Jessica appeared again, this time at the park. Alone again. Typical Michael. Work always comes first. Emily didn't respond, just kept walking with Max. You know what our last fight was about? Jessica continued, following her. He cancelled our honeymoon for a meeting. Emily stopped. Why are you telling me this? Because you seem like a good person. You don't deserve what I went through. Michael doesn't know how to love, only how to work. Emily looked at Max, who was growling softly at Jessica. Thanks for your concern, but I'd rather form my own opinions. Jessica shrugged and walked away. That night, Emily cried, holding Max close. The doubts gnawed at her heart. Was she repeating the same pattern? First, Amanda's father had abandoned her, and now Michael was choosing work over her. The next day, Amanda found her mother crying in the kitchen. Mom, what's wrong? Nothing, sweetheart, just tired. It's Michael, isn't it? You think he's not coming back? Emily hugged her daughter. I don't know, honey, maybe we fooled ourselves. Mom, Max wouldn't be wrong about someone's character. If he loves Michael, it's because he's worth it. As if agreeing, Max rested his head on Emily's lap. 3 more days passed. Emily had decided that when Michael returned, they'd have a serious talk about their future. Then, one Saturday morning, the doorbell rang. Emily opened the door and nearly fainted. Michael stood there holding flowers, looking exhausted but smiling. Michael, but you said... I wrapped everything up in record time. I couldn't stand being away any longer. Max came running and jumped on Michael with such force that he knocked him into the hallway. Max, easy boy, I missed you too. Emily helped Michael up. He pulled her into a tight hug. Forgive me. I know I promised 2 weeks and it was almost 5. But every day away from you was torture. Michael, we need to talk about this. About priorities, about... You're right. That's why I made a decision back in New York. Michael knelt right there in the hallway with Max jumping around him. Emily Johnson, you changed my life. You taught me that success without love means nothing. Will you marry me? Emily was speechless. Max barked excitedly. Michael, are you sure? We're so different. We're perfect for each other. You bring me peace. I offer you security. You take care of me and Max, and we take care of you and Amanda. It's a family, Emily. Mom! Amanda came running, having heard the commotion. Is he proposing? Say yes, Mom. Emily looked at the 3 hopeful faces. Michael on his knee, Amanda beaming, Max wagging his tail wildly. Yes, she whispered, then louder. Yes, 1,000 times, yes. The hallway erupted in celebration. Max leaped. Amanda screamed. Michael, spun Emily in the air. Catherine appeared out of nowhere with champagne. I knew it. I came prepared to celebrate. You planned this with her? Emily asked Michael. I needed the whole family's approval, he smiled, kissing her. The news of the engagement caused a stir. Some approved, others criticized. Emily learned to ignore the hurtful comments. The wedding preparations were simple. Emily didn't want a big party, just close friends and family. Are you sure? I can give you the wedding of your dreams, Michael offered. My dream is marrying you, the rest is just details. They decided to hold the ceremony at the farm Michael had bought as a wedding surprise, Emily's dream of returning to the countryside. On the wedding day, Max was the ring bearer carrying the rings. Amanda was the maid of honor. Catherine handled all the details. When Emily entered, dressed in simple white but radiant, Michael had to wipe away tears. You look divine, he whispered as she reached the altar. You don't look so bad yourself, she teased. The judge began the ceremony. Max sat politely between them, as if understanding the importance of the moment. Michael, do you take Emily to be your wife? I do, with all my heart. Emily, do you take Michael to be your husband? I do, forever. And Max, do you officially accept being part of this family? The judge joked. Max barked happily, making everyone laugh. After the kiss, the small reception was perfect. Family, close friends, homemade food, soft music. Emily danced with Michael when he whispered, "Thank you." For what? For not giving up on me. For teaching me how to love. For taking care of Max when he needed it most. Thank you for showing me happy endings exist. Max squeezed between them, wanting to join the dance. Complete family, Amanda said, joining the hug. And so what began with a simple act of kindness, feeding a lost dog, turned into a love story that changed 4 lives forever. But life still had surprises in store. 6 months after the wedding, Emily discovered she was pregnant. The news shocked everyone, including herself. "But I'm 38, I thought..." "Miracles happen," the doctor smiled. "The baby is healthy." Michael was overjoyed. Amanda loved the idea of having a little brother. And Max seemed to have a 6th sense. He became even more protective of Emily, never leaving her side. The pregnancy went smoothly. Max became the official guardian of Emily's belly, growling at anyone who approached too quickly. "Max is now personal security," Michael joked. One afternoon, Emily was resting on the couch when she felt the first contractions. Max immediately started barking and ran to Michael in the office. "What is it, boy?" Michael asked. Max tugged at his pant leg toward the living room. "Emily." Michael rushed in and found her taking deep breaths. "Is it time?" "I think so." At the hospital, Max had to stay outside but refused to leave the door. Amanda stayed with him, updating the dog on the news. After 12 hours of labor, Ethan was born, a healthy, strong boy. When Emily and the baby returned home, Max carefully sniffed the new family member. Then he lay down beside the crib, taking on his new role as guardian. "I think Max just adopted another human," Emily laughed. The years passed. Ethan grew up with Max as his best friend and protector. The dog, now old, still cared for his family with dedication. One day, Emily found Max lying in his favorite spot on the terrace, sleeping peacefully under the sun. But this time, he didn't wake up. The family wept together over the loss of the friend who had brought them all together. Max lived 15 years, a long, happy life for a golden retriever. "He waited to make sure we were all okay," Emily said through tears. "That's just how he was, always taking care of us." In the farm's garden, they planted a tree in Max's memory. A plaque read, "Max, the dog who taught a family how to find each other." Amanda, now a licensed veterinarian, opened a clinic with Michael's support. She specialized in rescuing and caring for abandoned animals. Ethan, at 5 years old, shared the same love for animals and always begged to visit his sister's shelter. One day, Ethan found an abandoned golden retriever puppy on the street. "Mom, Dad, look!" Emily and Michael exchanged glances. The puppy looked just like Max when he was young. "Can we keep him, please?" Ethan pleaded. "What do you think? Would Max approve of a successor?" Michael asked Emily. "I think he sent this puppy to keep watching over us." Emily smiled. And so the story began again. A new Max, Ethan insisted on keeping the name, joined the family, bringing joy and keeping alive the memory of the dog who had changed their lives. Emily sometimes caught herself thinking about how a simple act of kindness had transformed her destiny. From a struggling cleaner to a beloved wife, fulfilled mother, and proof that true love knows no social barriers. "Mom, tell me again how..." "You met Dad?" Ethan would ask. "Well, there was this hungry dog," Emily would begin, and everyone's eyes would shine, even though they knew every detail of the story. Because some stories deserve to be told and retold, passed down through generations, reminding everyone that kindness has the power to change lives and that true love can appear in the most unexpected ways. Michael, now dedicating more time to family and less to business, had created an animal rescue foundation in Max's name. Emily ran it, rescuing and finding homes for abandoned dogs. "Every dog deserves a chance to find their family," she'd say. Amanda met Robert, a biologist specializing in animal behavior, at the shelter. They married in a simple ceremony at the farm with dozens of rescued dogs as guests. Life had its challenges, of course. Not everything was perfect. There were moments of hardship, misunderstandings, and obstacles to overcome. But the solid foundation of love and respect they had built, started by a hungry dog and a kind-hearted woman, always helped them weather any storm. Emily kept a journal where she wrote about the original Max. One day, Ethan found it and asked to read it. "Mom, you wrote here that Max saved your life. How?" Emily hugged her son. "Sometimes, sweetheart, when we help someone, we're the ones who receive the greatest help." Max taught me I deserve love, that I'm worthy of happiness. Without him, I'd never have had the courage to accept your father's love. And Dad? Your father learned that success without love is empty. Max taught us how to be a family. Ethan hugged Max too. So dogs really are magical. Not the dogs, honey. Love is what's magical. Dogs just teach us how to see it. At that moment, Michael came home from work. Max too ran to greet him, just as the first Max used to do. "How are my loves?" he asked, kissing Emily and ruffling Ethan's hair. "Telling stories about old Max," Emily replied. "The best dog in the world," Michael said wistfully. "The second best," Ethan defended Max too. "The two best," Emily mediated, each special in their own way. The family gathered for dinner, with Max II lying under the table waiting for a treat to accidentally fall. The tradition continued. After dinner, they all went to the terrace to gaze at the stars, another habit Emily had brought from her childhood in the countryside. "Mum, what's that constellation?" Ethan asked. "That's Canis Major. See, it looks like a dog running across the sky." "Just like old Max. Is he running in the sky now?" Emily exchanged a tender glance with Michael. "Yes, sweetheart. He's running free, but always watching over us." Max II let out a soft bark, as if in agreement. Years later, when Ethan grew up and had children of his own, the story was still told. How his great-grandmother Emily saved a dog, who in turn saved an entire family. The farm became a large shelter and rehabilitation center for animals. Hundreds of dogs passed through, each finding a loving home. Emily, now with silver hair but still full of energy, continued overseeing everything. "Grandma, why do you still work so hard?" her granddaughter asked one day. "Because every animal deserves a chance, my love. That's what Max taught me." Michael beside her held her hand. "Your grandmother has the biggest heart I've ever known." "And your grandfather, the greatest love," Emily added. They watched. The sun set together, as they had for decades. The tree planted in Max's memory had grown tall and strong, a symbol of a love that began with a simple gesture and blossomed forever. In quiet moments, Emily often reflected on her journey, from a woman who barely had enough to eat to someone who could help others. But the greatest wealth, she knew, wasn't in money or material comfort. It was in waking up beside Michael each morning, in the smiles of her children and grandchildren, in the lives saved through their foundation, and in the certainty that one act of kindness could truly change the world. "Thank you, Max," she whispered, "to the wind, for teaching me that love knows no breed, class, or species. It simply exists, pure and transformative." And somewhere, whether in the sky or in the hearts of those he loved, Max was still wagging his tail, happy to have fulfilled his mission, bringing together souls who needed each other. Because in the end, that's the magic of dogs. They teach us about unconditional love, second chances, and the beauty of trust. Emily fed a hungry dog. In return, she gained a lifetime of love and purpose. And the story continues. In every rescued animal, in every family formed, in every act of kindness inspired by a golden retriever who got lost so that everyone could find each other. The end now. Tell us what you thought of this touching journey. Where are you watching from? Do you believe Emily made the right choice by giving love a chance? Leave your comment below, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more heartwarming stories.